Trump administration indicts Raul Castro over 1996 plane shootdown, escalating US-Cuba tensions. The Trump administration has officially indicted Raul Castro, the former president of Cuba, for his alleged involvement in the 1996 shootdown of two planes operated by the Cuban-American group Brothers to the Rescue. This significant political event marks a sharp escalation in tensions between the United States and Cuba and has drawn widespread attention from both political analysts and international observers. The indictment, announced recently by the U.S. Department of Justice, accuses Castro of conspiracy to commit murder and other charges related to the incident that resulted in the deaths of 3 Americans and 1 Cuban. The planes were conducting humanitarian missions over international waters when they were shot down by the Cuban military. This tragedy has been a point of contention in U.S.-Cuba relations for decades. The 1996 incident led to a major shift in U.S. policy towards Cuba, prompting the implementation of the Helms-Burton Act, which tightened the embargo against Cuba and made it more difficult for the U.S. to normalize relations with the island nation. The act was designed to pressure the Cuban government into making political reforms and addressing human rights abuses. Following the shootdown, the U.S. government responded by increasing sanctions against Cuba and strengthening military presence in the region. The event became a rallying point for Cuban exiles and anti-Castro activists in the United States, further polarizing opinions about U.S. policy towards Cuba. Raul Castro, who served as the president of Cuba from 2008 until his retirement in 2018, has long been a controversial figure. He succeeded his brother, Fidel Castro, and oversaw a period of gradual economic reforms while maintaining a firm grip on political power. The indictment comes as the Trump administration has shifted its stance on Cuba, rolling back the policies of the previous administration that sought to improve relations with the island. Political analysts suggest that the timing of the indictment is strategic, as it aligns with the Trump administration's broader foreign policy objectives. This move may be aimed at solidifying support among Cuban-American voters in Florida, a critical swing state in the upcoming elections. The administration's hardline stance on Cuba resonates with a significant portion of the Cuban-American community, particularly those who fled the island's communist regime. The indictment has been met with mixed reactions. Supporters of the move argue that it holds Castro accountable for his actions and serves as a warning to other leaders who might consider similar military aggression against civilians. Critics, however, contend that the indictment could further complicate any future efforts at diplomatic engagement with Cuba and may exacerbate existing tensions. In addition to the indictment, the Trump administration has implemented a series of sanctions targeting Cuban officials and entities linked to human rights abuses. These measures have been part of a broader effort to pressure the Cuban government to reform its policies and improve conditions for its citizens. The situation has garnered international attention, with some foreign governments and human rights organizations calling for a reevaluation of U.S. policy towards Cuba. Many argue that engagement, rather than isolation, may be a more effective strategy for promoting change on the island. As the political landscape evolves, the implications of this indictment could extend beyond U.S.-Cuba relations. The move may set a precedent for how the U.S. government addresses historical grievances involving foreign leaders, particularly in cases where American lives were lost. Observers will be closely watching how this legal action influences diplomatic relations and whether it leads to any significant changes in U.S. policy regarding Cuba. The indictment of Raul Castro marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing saga of U.S.-Cuba relations, highlighting the complexities of historical grievances, political maneuvering, and the challenges of fostering dialogue between two nations with a long and contentious history.